Hey, what's up, my Empower series community? How are you doing this tonight? I hope you're doing well. What we're going to talk about today, this is the Empower Series podcast going live. I am going to talk to you about mindset. There's a lot of things I can talk to you about. I was thinking about all of the different techniques and strategies for saving money, for budgeting, um, investment ideas, and all the different ways of financial literacy, the basics of credit management. But I thought today, why don't we just back up? Because before we take action, we always got to think about what causes us to take action, which is our mind, is what we think. So I wanted to talk to you about mindset. You hear that term all the time, mindset, millionaire mindset. Wealth begins in your mind and then it ends in your purse. So what does that really mean? I read an interesting article that talked about 5 steps for changing our mindset. And so I'm going to review that with you. But I'm also going to add my own little piece to it as well. So mindset is important, but we're going to start by just saying, what is mindset? So if I look at the definition of mindset in the context of financial literacy, your mindset is your set of beliefs that determine how you feel about money. Like, what's your relationship with money? Um, how do you make financial decisions? What do you feel about debt? So your mindset are all the thoughts that you have about money. And where does that come from? A lot of it comes unconsciously by the way we were raised, the environment that we were in. So the 5 steps that I'm going to go over that's going to talk about ways for you to change your mindset are simply this. First, we got to become conscious of what is driving us right now. So we're going to do some reflection on where do these thoughts come from? What is our current set of beliefs? That's number one. Then number two would be, what are some empowering sets of beliefs that we could acquire through affirmations, through intentionally deciding what it is we want to accomplish and then doing it from a mindset perspective. And then thirdly, it's going to be, what are our goals? So what are our financial goals? Fifth will be setting a plan and monitoring our spending. And then that's the fourth step, is monitoring our plan and our spending. The fifth step, though, the final step, is being committed to it. And I'm going to give you some of my ideas about how you can be committed to whatever change you want to make in your life. So we're going to do this 5 steps around mindset of money, but realize that the principles it takes to be financially sound are the same principles it takes to be successful in any area of your life. So we're going to start. Does that sound like a good thing to do? Are you excited about it? I tell you what, go ahead and put in the chat some of your thoughts about mindset, how excited you are about what you're going to learn, how you're going to apply it. And also, as we're going through this, I'm going to give you some exercises to do, some actions to take. Because this is not about just watching a podcast and sitting back and eating a bologna sandwich. This is about taking some actions, right? You all heard about positive thinking and you can think your way to success. No, it takes action. Don't get it twisted. Thinking and your mindset is very important, but at the end of the day, you got to put some action into play. So let's talk about mindset again, and let's look at the research first. So before I get into the 5 steps, I want to talk about, there's been some research on mindset. So let me just tell you, in 2012, there was a study by the Journal of Economic Psychology. They found that participants who visualized themselves successfully reaching their goals, like saving for retirement, saving for emergencies, whatever it might be, were more likely to report engaging in saving behavior than those who didn't visualize about it. So that is mostly like your thoughts, because your thoughts always come in visions. And there's another test or study that says mental rehearsal of performing positive acts, just like when you are in sports and you're running or playing basketball, visualizing yourself being successful leads to success. So visualizing yourself saving money or being successful financially is going to be a positive. And all of that stems from the mind. So there is some research on it. It's all over the place when you look at the different sources. But basically where I'm getting at is visualizing yourself achieving your goal and achieving your financial objectives, mentally rehearsing that along with an abundance mindset, which we're going to talk about more, will help you achieve your goals. So there's some research to it. I'm going to go back and let's look at the first step in this article that talks about just looking back in our past, in our childhood, and think about what was our experiences when we were growing up with money. I'm going to tell you some of mine. So I remember vividly having big Christmas a big Christmas day with presents and everything, and not having any idea where those presents were coming from. But as I got older, I remember sitting down with my dad and talking about his budget. And I remember just asking him a question like, so is this how much money you make? Is this how much you're spending? Why are you spending more than you make? And he got kind of mad at me. So that was a vivid memory. So I think it kind of it impacted me when I'm talking to my kids now. I want to talk to them about finances, but I got to realize not to be defensive. But I do remember the thought of, let's buy it now and pay for it later. Buy it now and pay for it later. I do remember the stress around money too. Like I wanted to get some things and my dad was telling me, no, you can't get it. So what were some of your childhood memories about money? So I want you to take some time, and you don't have to stop this video now, but I want you to take some time and reflect for around 5 minutes or so. What are some of the thoughts you have about money and where do they come from? Which were your past? That's an activity. So you got to identify what are your thoughts today. And are those thoughts, when you list those thoughts out on a piece of paper, I want you to do a couple of things. Don't judge them when you're writing it out. Just go ahead and write out the ideas, write down the thoughts, your memories. And they may not even be thoughts. It's just memories of times that money came up as you were growing up, and then what you think about it today. And after you list out all of those, what I want you to do is I want you to put them in 3 categories. I want you to identify those that are positive, those that are negative, and those that are just neutral. And don't judge, right? And don't go back to your parents and start blaming them for your money problems, because you're realizing that the way you think about money, the problem you're in is because of the way your parents raised you. I don't want you to do that. Don't do that. But take the time and reflect on what are your memories about money and what are your thoughts and how are those thoughts really guiding you today subconsciously. So that's step number 1, right? 5 steps to shift your mindset. Step number 2 now will be, let's flip the switch. Let's start thinking about some positive thoughts. What are some positive thoughts around money? And you can start by just taking a list of your ideas that you have that are not empowering, and then switch those, make them empowering. Like you might have heard as you were growing up that the system is rigged against us. Think the system is set up for me to succeed. Or you might think money is tight, I can't afford it. You might think that there's resources that are attracted to good ideas. So what are some positive thoughts you can come up with around money as step number 2 to begin to shift whatever thoughts you had from your past, no judgment, subconsciously that's ruling you today. Maybe you got into debt and you feel a certain way about that. Just flip those to positive ones. I'm going to give you some examples of some positive affirmations that some of them I've used, so some of them just good examples. So some positive millionaire mindset affirmations could be, I am worthy of abundance, wealth, and financial success. Just simply, I am worthy of financial abundance and financial success. I am a magnet for prosperity and positive opportunities. My income consistently grows and it exceeds my expenses. My cup runneth over. So my cup is not half empty, half filled. It's full. It's actually fuller than full. It's running over. With every action I take, I move closer to my financial freedom. Also, I confidently make wise financial decisions aligned with my goals. So whatever they are, I want you to take the time, maybe 5 minutes again, and just jot down some positive affirmations. Doesn't matter how many, but I would at least want you to write down 3 to 5 positive thoughts around money. And that's the second step towards shifting your mindset. Number 1, identify what's ruling you subconsciously. Number 2, let's start consciously and intentfully changing that to being some positive mindset, some positive affirmations. So the third step, now that you've got some positive affirmations that you are going to speak every day, the third step is to now identify some goals. So what are your goals? And they can be very simple, but they got to be specific. So it might be to save money. So a goal that is specific around saving money is, I'm going to save a certain amount of money a week, a paycheck, or a month. $50, $100, $1,500, whatever your income level is, but be very specific about how much money you're going to save. I'm going to begin saving into my retirement plan. So it might start with 3%, or you might increase it every time you get a raise. So whatever it is, start contributing to your 401k plan at work. Or it might be getting out of debt. You could say, I'm going to pay more than my minimum payments. I'm going to pay $100 more than my minimum payment on my credit cards to get out of debt. So whatever that might be, it may be saving up for a car, saving up for a vacation. So whether it's saving money into an emergency fund, saving for retirement, getting out of debt, or educating yourself around more investment opportunities, identify what your financial goals are. Saving for vacation. Take 5 minutes again, sit down, and start identifying your goals. I want to make sure that your goals are very specific though. As you write them out, you might just write them out initially, but then here's a way of making sure they're specific. Is there a specific dollar amount involved? There should be. Is there a specific timetable involved? Let's say 6 months or 12 months. If you want to reduce your debt, know exactly how much debt you're in. It may be $5,000, $10,000, or $2,500. By the end of December, you want to have either no debt, or you want to reduce your debt by $1,500 if you're paying $100 a month, or more than $100 a month to pay off your credit card debt. Whatever that might be, just write it out. Be very specific with the dollar amount. Be very specific with the time period so that you can measure it. Take 5 minutes, knock it out. Do that right now. So step number 1, identify what's guiding you. What are the subconscious thoughts you've had when you were growing up that's ruling you today? And then intentfully switch those, flip the switch from dark to light. What are the affirmations and positive things that you want to do now? And saying in the morning when you wake up, abundance surrounds me. Bust that illusion of lack, right? We live in an abundance world, so start speaking what you want. Thirdly, identify specifically what your goals are. Now, what the fourth step? The fourth step, now that you have some goals, is you got to now see where your money's going. If you're not tracking the income and expenses in your life, then you're not making a sound decision. That's the basis of any decision you make, knowing how much income and expenses you have. So take the time, and there's going to be a ton of resources underneath this video that you can go and get budgeting sheets, or go and speak with a counselor, whether it's a certified credit counselor or even a budget counselor, or connect with the Empower series where we can give you resources, and I'll give you a way of doing that at the very end. So then it's about tracking your spending and knowing where your money goes, but also track your income. So there's a budget sheet down below where you can identify how often you get paid, if it's every week, every 2 weeks, every month, if it's commission, what the average is. But then what are your bills? What are your fixed bills? And that's the plan. So you kind of know how much how much your bills are, and you know how much you may have to spend for food or for gas. That's like your plan. So there's 3 steps to tracking. Number 1 is, what is your plan? Number 2 is having a system where you can actually track the actual spending. You can either do that manually on a piece of paper, you can do it on an Excel worksheet. What I would encourage you to do is to actually invest and buy a personal software package. So whether it's Quicken or one of the hundreds of other programs out there, it really doesn't matter, but it's just an easy way to download all of the financial transactions that are occurring, whether they're credit cards, savings accounts, checking accounts, wherever you're spending money. Download those transactions, give it a category, and then know where your money has gone over the past 30 days, 60 days, a quarter. Track that. So you have your plan, your actual expenses, and then the third step is spending some time to sit down and look at, well, how well did I do? Did I overspend? Did I underspend? Those are 3 steps of really tracking and being conscious of where your money goes, and many people don't do that. So if you just do that, let's just stop right there. If you just identify how much money you need to save to achieve your goal, whether it's an emergency fund, get out of debt, or retire, and then you look at where you're spending right now and see that there's a gap between how much you're spending and how much you need to spend to achieve your goal. So the plan number 1, before we get into any conversation about investing or any kind of strategy for building wealth, it is about, how do I begin to save what I need to save to know that I'm on track to achieve my goal? And that might be increasing your income, reducing expenses, but let's close that gap. That's the first stage of creating wealth. having a goal and making sure you're saving what we call your targeted savings goal, your TSG. And that's step number 4. So step number 1, let's do a quick recap. Let's see what's driving us. What are those thoughts, those subconscious thoughts that are in our mind that are not enabling us to do and achieve the vision that we have for ourselves? What are those things? And don't judge them, because we all have them, right? So sometimes you might have been, if you were raised in a situation where money was tight, or if you were raised in the opposite situation where money was abundant, did you guys struggle, or did you not struggle? Were you mired in debt? Was it a stressful situation? Whatever it is, just jot that down, because a lot of times before we can change anything, we've got to identify where we are. And don't judge where you are, just write it down. That's step number 1. Step number 2 then is to come up with positive affirmations to confirm what it is you want to achieve in your life. I woke up this morning and I normally wake up, I stretch, I pray, I look at my vision board, and I meditate. But I was stressed this morning, and I was in a rush, and I got some news that I didn't really want to deal with. And it took me a while, the whole day, to just change my attitude and start thinking positively about the outcome of that. So a lot of it is becoming aware of your thoughts, even throughout the day, and being intentional in repeating positive affirmations to reprogram yourself to not fall into the negativity that's all around us. So that's step number 2. Step number 3, as I said before, is to write down your goals and be very clear about them, be very specific. And step number 4 is to know where your money's going and track it. That in and of itself, do those 4 steps and you will be ahead of the majority of Americans. The average savings rate for all US citizens is only 7%. 7%. And most Americans are not even contributing. Over half of Americans are not contributing to a retirement plan. So if you just identify what your goals are and begin saving money, getting out of debt, and investing for your future, that you're on track, right? Now, step number 5 is to commit to it. So there's certain steps you got to do to commit, right? So we can all find somebody, especially during the NBA playoffs, to go to watch the game tonight. So if your team is playing tonight, hey, let's go watch the game, drink some beers, eat some hot wings, right? So how is that achieving your goal? Watching millionaires play basketball. Unless you're making money out of this, you're not moving forward towards your goals. And if you are okay with where your life is today and where your goals are, and you are on track, then you cool watching TV. But if you got a gap, why are you watching TV? Why are you? So that's a whole nother story. But what I would say is make a commitment to change your life and achieve your financial goals. You can play after the fact. So I would say the thing to do is to, number 1, commit to learning, lifetime learning. There's workshops, there's free information out there. Go take online courses, come to the Empower Series workshop, or look at our menu of programs on YouTube or on Facebook. You're on that now. So take a time to look at the different areas of entrepreneurship, improving your credit, increasing your level of financial literacy, whether it's preparing to buy a home, life insurance, or estate planning, whatever that is, just make a commitment. My email address is thrive@empowerseries.com. Contact me if you want a financial coach or if you have any questions. I'm available not only on social media, you can follow us, but you can email thrive@empowerseries.com and get a financial coach that will give you advice tailored to your specific goals. So make a commitment. Then I would say surround yourself with people who are going to inspire you and hold you accountable. Like I said before, you can find a group of people to go shopping with and they have fun, go on vacation. That's great. You got to have balance in life. But I would encourage you to be around people too that's going to hold you accountable to achieve your goals. And holding accountable is an iffy kind of comment, because nobody else can hold you accountable. It's just encourage you and inspire you to keep your word and to do the things you know you need to do to achieve it. I have people around me who would keep me straight. If I say I'm going to do something, they'll follow up with me and say, hey, how's that going? They'll keep me on track for my goals. We should all have a group of people that are supporting us and inspiring us to be greater than what we currently are. So that's making a commitment. And then the last thing I would tell you is to really make sure that you believe by following a morning ritual and an evening ritual that is really programming yourself to be influenced by your internal desire to achieve your goals and not external factors that are all around us. There's news that is negative, there's war that's negative, there's politics that are negative. If you do not have a system that is going to ensure that you wake up and you follow this regimen that you have designed that's going to help you achieve your goal, then you're letting the world dictate what you do. So I would encourage you to create systems around your goal. So if it's waking up in the morning and getting your mind straight by meditating, praying, looking at your vision board, reading your affirmations, working out, then put those systems in place. And it might be good to ask if there's an accountability buddy, or if you want to work out with somebody, or if you want to get on the phone call and just meditate together or do something. Don't do it alone, because nothing of significance can ever be done alone. You have to have partners to make a big impact in our lives. So we all have what I would call maybe 3 types of people in our life, or networks of great people. There's a personal network, which are your friends, your family, people who love you and support you. Those are the people that care for you and will always want to inspire you, and make sure that those are those people, right? If you have anybody in there that's not on board with Team You, you got to cut them out. Then we all have what we call the operational network. Our operational network are people who we work together to accomplish some larger goal, whether it's at work or in the community. So with me, I have my family and friends who support me and love me. I also have people who support me with the Empower series. I call them family too, but those are more operational because we work together to accomplish a goal. So it might be people at your church, like I said, people at your work, but it's people that's going to support you in accomplishing something that is bigger, and that's called your operational network. And then lastly, you've got your strategic network. Your strategic network are those people who are doing things at a much higher level than you. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you be the dumbest person in the room? You definitely don't want to be the smartest person in the room. So how do you surround yourself with people who are doing things greater than you? I would tell you that the way you do it is you got to be about something yourself. You got to be about something that is really bigger than you. And as you look at these people who are accomplishing these things at a greater level than you are, see how you can add value, see how you can help, see how what you're doing can be in synergy with what they're doing, and through your collaboration, both of you achieve greater results. So the whole purpose of collaborating and working together as a team, networking, is to really make sure that you're not just benefiting yourself and benefiting the other person, but your collaboration is benefiting the millions of people whose lives are going to be touched and transformed because you work together. So that is what I want to talk to you about today. And what I've already talked to you about today is mindset. So what is your mindset and how do you change it? You follow these 5 steps. The summary will be below in the video. I encourage you to come back and listen to this again, but not just listen to it, but to take the breaks and do the activity. Take the time to reflect on what are those things that are driving me today. Become aware of that. Take the time to write down positive affirmations to shift your mindset to be positive. And that's not a one-time thing. Like I told you today, I was struggling today to keep my mind positive. So you're gonna run into some hurdles. So it's something that you've got to practice consistently. And then thirdly would be to identify your goals. And I would say update your goals periodically, because as you achieve them, or as things happen, you want to make sure that they're current. So update your goals in other areas of life, not just finances, but it could be health, family, career, community involvement, spiritual growth. But update your goals and have them in different areas. And then know and monitor where your money's going, the income and the outgo. We're going to talk later about different ways you can increase your income, because income is always a factor of the quality of service, the quantity of service, and the attitude of which you deliver it will always equal your compensation. So if you want to talk about ways of creating more income and multiple sources of income, stay connected to the Empower series and we'll talk about that. Then the last part is be committed. Be committed by what you do. So always learn. Always tap into organizations that are empowering you and educating you, like the Empower series. There's resources like Money Management International They're the largest nonprofit provider of financial education and financial counseling in the United States. There's Operation Hope. There's a ton of resources. The FDIC has a program called Money Smart that talks about different areas of financial literacy, from borrowing money, preparing for a home, getting out of debt. So there's a ton of resources. If you stay connected with the Empower series, what we'll do is we'll always want to make sure that we're giving you hope that you can achieve your goals. We want to inspire you to take action, because hope without action doesn't get you anywhere. So we want to give you hope, inspiration, definitely educate you, which is lifelong, life learning. And then we want to connect you to those resources that can help you continually take those steps consistently so that you're succeeding and thriving. Because success is defined by the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So we all have goals, and we can all take those incremental steps to achieve it. And it's about the journey, not just the destination. Until we meet again, I want you to be empowered and inspired to thrive. Please give your comments below. Don't keep us a secret. Share us with other people, but definitely connect with us. Thrive at empowerseries.com, where I can give you the resources that are tailored to your specific goals. Hope you got value out of today in our program. Stay connected with us. We'll continue to give you programs, information that's going to help inspire you and encourage you to fulfill this vision that you have for yourself. Like I said, until we meet again, be empowered and inspired to thrive.